And hey, everybody. I'm Mateo Cadena, pronouns he, him, chapter lead of Type Thursday. I'm here with my co-host, the amazing, take it over,
Michael Mondragon, of course.
And at Type Thursday, you do what, sir?
I am the dialogue lead. So,
Tell us what the dialogue lead do.
So we have TypeCrits, which we go over different artists' work. We have 3 people tonight that are going to show their work. So I pretty much go over their work, but also encourage discussion and get people involved. We have some really talented people in our green room that I'll bring up, and we can actually discuss all these. And so people get honest feedback and very informed feedback as well. So it's an open space where we can discuss all these things. So it's a good time.
Yes. So thank you everyone for tuning in. We know people are just now joining us and joining from all over the social media platforms. You can join us from YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Twitch. We're getting all over the place now with our live streams. So, we got Ross joining in from Twitch right there. I saw Rachel pop in. Welcome everybody. At Type Thursday, we are all about the laid back, chill vibes, sharing our work in progress and hearing from each other on what we can do better. Because we know when you're working as a designer and when you're working with typography especially, it can be an extremely difficult discipline to master on your own. Reading books just doesn't cut it. Looking at videos isn't just the only way you're going to learn. You got to interact with people. So that's why we're here for you. My buddy, my dialogue lead, Michael Mondragon, and myself. And we even have a live TypeCrit audience to provide some in-person interactions, reactions, and feedback for our presenters who will be presenting their work tonight. So we are super excited about this format, and we're always looking for ways to improve, and new volunteers and community members who want to plug in, or new presenters who want to show work. We meet once a month, so if you want to show work at our next meetup, you can just reach out to us through our website, TypeThursday.org, and /Los Angeles for the LA chapter, but we're global, so you can check out any of the chapters if you're tuning in from around the world. Yeah. So Michael, what has been the thing that has kept you coming back to Type Thursday, man? I mean, we've been in the midst of a pandemic, but we're still here every month doing this thing.
Well, I'm kind of stuck in this room for the last year, so it's been kind of easy to come back every month on a Thursday. So, but community has been really important during these times, and just feeling like we're outside, even though that we're all indoors, and hopefully we can go. We all got through this. Hopefully our worst days are behind us, but stuff like this takes our mind off of it. I think doing when we were talking about this before about kind of behind the scenes, that a lot of us have Zoom burnout. So just being able to sit back and just look at stuff, but also we encourage people in the chat to definitely put their thoughts out there, and you don't have to have your face on camera. We're very lucky to have the people that we do behind the scenes to join us tonight. But yeah, it's again a casual discussion, and we want to hopefully one day all be in the same room together. But this is going to be the way that we're going to have to do it right now, and it's been a lot of fun, and it's been definitely a great experiment.
It's truly been an experiment, and one of the things I wanted to let everybody know is we are BYOB friendly. So bring your own booze, bring your own mocktails if you're sober, and we're in LA, so we're definitely cannabis friendly too. So if you've got anything that you want to take, enjoy. And cheers to y'all at home. We are trying to live it up from our living rooms, as you can see. Since we can't quite get outside, as Michael mentioned, LA has been a hotspot for COVID. So the one cool thing that has helped us all out, hey Sunil, see you jumping in there on Type Thursday. Our welcome lead, Sunil. If you see Type Thursday logo, that's our welcome lead, Mr. Sunil. Hey Hannah, thanks for jumping in the chat. And if you're on Facebook right now, we would love it, love it if you could just share this live stream to your page. You could do the share now. You could add a comment. You could say why you love us, all those cool things. Even just the slightest like and share really helps us out to show us you love us and you want us to keep doing this thing. and also reach the broader design community, because we know this community is huge, especially here in LA. But because we're virtual, the borders have come down and the traffic is out of the way. So anyone can join from anywhere. And that's been the cool thing about hosting this on StreamYard and live streams and going on Zoom and doing the virtual stuff, is we've had people from San Francisco, Chicago, New York, who have jumped in the room with us, who we could have never had back when we were, in person on the ground in downtown LA at General Assembly, one of our awesome venue sponsors who hosted our in-person events. So we sort of traded pizza and beer, which is what we offered in person at our in-person events, with global presence of like wonderful Type Thursday sister chapters, like Feride Marib. She had joined us. She was a chapter lead of Type Thursday in New York. She had joined for a Zoom session with us at one point. And we've had other folks from all around the nation and all around the world to jump in. So we're really excited to host this here. And yeah, I've got a great question from Mr. Sunil running the Type Thursday page. He asked everyone, where are you from? So feel free to just post into the chat where you're tuning in from. I'm in Pasadena, and Mr. Michael, where are you?
I'm just right to the east of you in Sierra Madre, California.
Woo woo, and we still haven't hung out yet, but because of the pandemic.
Exactly. Yeah.
One day soon.
Yeah, one day.
Yeah. And one of the things I'm really excited for today is because we have 3 presenters and we have our live TypeCrit audience. At some point, we could definitely have a little bit of a mix and mingle, be a part of this little StreamYard too, probably at the end after our presenters show their work. Then we could do a little bit of mix and mingle, chatting, and you can interact with any of us through the chat. So let us know. Yeah, I'm super excited. We are at 7:08. So I'll give us 2 more minutes and we'll get started with our first presenter. Or actually, we'll get started with the deck and then the first presenter. So don't worry, you'll have time if you're back there, because then I'll run us through some updates for the community. One thing I wanted to say is you might have noticed we were gone in December because we do a holiday break. Traditionally, we like to take a break because, volunteers, it takes to run this organization, to make this happen. It takes a lot of work. And so we needed a break in December, especially with everything that was happening in the world. And in January, I actually got COVID because I've had to go into office, and unfortunately it spread around our office because of holiday break. People definitely, caught some things and brought it back. I have recovered now, so I'm definitely doing a lot better, but the road to recovery has been long, and I am still sort of not back to 100% yet. So watch out for COVID, do everything you can to stay safe out there, wear your mask, wash your hands. If you can have access to the vaccine, that's awesome, but also continue to lower your risk with everything else you're doing too, masking, 6 feet apart. You just do not want to get this virus. I'm a young person, so the nurse that had diagnosed me with the positive result let me know, like, oh, you'll be fine if you go home and rest for 14 days. And I thought that would be the case, but it was actually about 24 days of just getting my butt kicked by COVID. And I was down and out for the count, needing to rest a lot, and I couldn't, do much. And it definitely put me out of work for a while too, a bit. Thank goodness I had some time that I was able to use and have that time where I was able to stay afloat financially. I also went through a move in the process. I went from Burbank to Pasadena, so I'm here in Pasadena now. If you're in Pasadena, let me know, reach out. But yeah, I survived, and thank God, by the grace of God, that I did survive, and thank the universe that I didn't have to go to the ER, because that was during the holiday peak. So the hospital capacities were extremely high. So please, everyone, do not treat COVID as if it is a joke. It is for real. I am a living example of it, and it also had caused some nerve pain. So even if you're young, it could really hurt your body. You might be fine and you might not. It's really, the roll of the dice. You don't know. So be extremely cautious. I know Michael has been extremely cautious in his household, right, Michael?
To say the least.
Yeah. So
but Mateo, you also did something during COVID that not a lot of people know about. You moved during COVID.
Yeah.
So I mean, so that was that. I don't know how you did that. By the way, that's nuts. So
it was intense.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Thank goodness I had support from my design friends, from my family as well. We managed to really do it all contactlessly. My friend Ann Suerto, who's in the room, who's now my neighbor, she set up like a tour where she actually toured the space of one of the apartments that I was looking at that she had recommended. And he sent me a video and was like, "Hey, do you like the space?" And I checked it out, and it looks really cool. And we talked about it, and I was like, "Yeah, this looks awesome." And I would love to be your neighbor. And she's been selling me on Pasadena for over a year, and finally I'm here, and I'm loving Pasadena so far, and I'm loving that we have this community here. So thank you, Anne, being my support system to help me get through. She would help me out with like Instacart, so I didn't have to like go to the grocery store. So I was very blessed, and not everyone has that opportunity and doesn't have that privilege, to have that. So I got really lucky that, I was able to lean on some people in my network who were there for me in that time. So that's what helped me get through, especially was just the human connection. I think I was doing a lot of like Zoom and FaceTime with friends and people I haven't talked to in a while. And that was just like what kept me going, especially when I felt so just crappy. Your whole body feels like you got hit by a truck when you're dealing with, fight your body fighting the virus. So yeah, it's been pretty intense.
Good. Glad that you're getting on the road to recovery for sure.
Thank you, brother. So without further ado, I will jump into our deck that we have prepared for y'all today. And then from there, I'll hand it off to Mr. Michael, and we'll hand it off to our first presenter from there. Let's jump over to the presentation. Da-da-da. Welcome to Type Thursday LA, everyone. This is a meeting place for people who love letter forms. And if you love letter forms, we love you, and we want to hear from you. You can present your work at Type Thursday. Go to TypeThursday.org. Check us out on our website. Go to the LA chapter, and there's a form there where it says submit your work, and you can submit your work. Anything that has to do with design that uses typography in any way. So you might not think if you're a UI designer, you could present your work, but you can because you use typography for those interfaces. And if you're a package designer that uses typography, show us what you got. We love to see work in progress because our audience provides valuable feedback and mentorship to help you grow your designs and take you beyond your current level, just growing by talking and sharing the designs. So join us, submit your work, and we are a global organization. We're all around the world. This is the LA chapter, so we're here in Los Angeles, but we've got people in San Francisco, Seattle, Chicago, New York, all the way to London, Barcelona, Bogota, Madrid, Firenze, and new chapters opening every quarter, I would say, I hope, but we're opening up new chapters all around. And if you're in a place and you're watching this and there's no chapter in your city, then you can start your own chapter. Again, go to TypeThursday.org and figure out how to start your own chapter. There's a page there for you, and you can reach out to us through our website, and you can start your own chapter. We are extremely supportive community, and I have learned so much by being a chapter lead at the LA chapter, thanks to all of our global chapter leads when we have our calls and we learn from each other and what we're all doing around the world. So Type Thursday could not be possible without our sponsors. So a huge thank you to Hofmitz Milken Center for Typography, or HMCT, at Art Center. If you haven't been, it's one of the most amazing places if you love typography. They always have some wonderful gallery that is open to the public where you can check out their latest exhibition, and they have set us up with a special giveaway for tonight, and we'll talk more about that. We get a awesome book from them, and we're going to be giving that away, so stay tuned to figure out how you can get a copy or win a copy. AIGA Los Angeles is also an amazing sponsor. They help us with everything from marketing, getting the word out to the community. I'm a part of AIGA, so is Mr. Michael. And Michael, what's one little thing that you love about AIGA LA before I move
on? The community. I mean, it's I always say that whenever I'm in a meeting, I'm the dumbest person in the room, which is I love. I get to learn from all these really talented people, but also strengthen my game and definitely it inspires me. And this Type Thursday is the same thing. It got me excited about design again. It got me excited about typography, but also the community around it is super supportive. I mean, the fact that we have all these people watching this, and it's just kind of an impromptu live stream. So it's, people are really passionate about typography. So Yeah, that's what AIGA is, and I'm very thankful that Rachel Elnar, who's in our panel tonight, brought me into AIGA, and definitely it leveled me up. I feel in a lot of ways.
I should say Rachel Elnar pulled me into Type Thursday. I was very reluctant at first, but it all of a sudden happened, and she was right. I was meant to be the next chapter lead, and sure enough, it happened for me sometime after she had stepped down from the chapter. So Rachel's awesome. She's a great connector, and AIJLA is a place where you can connect with many designers across the community. In addition, General Assembly, if you are looking for a career pivot in your life, this pandemic has made us all question, what are we doing? Where are we going next? Then check out General Assembly. They have wonderful boot camps. They were a great venue partner of ours. They helped host us in Santa Monica and in downtown LA when we could host events in person. But General Assembly is online. They're doing wonderful boot camps about like intros to UX that are even free, intro to product design, which is free. You can learn Python, you can learn coding. Go check out General Assembly. So TypeThursdayLA is made up of a team of wonderful people, and it couldn't be a thing without all these amazing people. We've got Michael Mondragon, my dialogue lead, our editorial lead, Sarah Wong, photography lead, Laura Tu, who is also a TypeCrit guest tonight, live audience member, our welcome lead, who's out there rocking the Type Thursday profile. So if you see our Type Thursday logo, that's Sunil Ramprasad, and he's there to welcome everyone, make you all feel like you're a part of this community, and figure out your questions and probe a little bit further to help the conversations and dialogue keep going. And then we've got our wonderful Type Thursday family. Big reach out to Chrislam. We're sending you virtual hugs through the space right now. She's going through a big loss in the family. So she's doing a GoFundMe campaign to help pay for some of the funeral costs of the family loss. So if you can, just share that. If you can even do it, donate it. If you're in the position to donate, absolutely help out. We love Chrislam. She's done so much for this community and brought us all together. And then the wonderful others who are out there, like Kevin, Rachel, Ophelia, Julie, who's our lifesaver, and the many others who are a part of this extended family. So this is a little sneak peek of our giveaway that we're going to be raffling off, if you will, tonight. So the more you engage, the more we see you in chats. We want to make sure that our engaged audience members are entered to win this wonderful type specimen. This is HMCT's newest release, which captures Public Foundry's research on artificial intelligence to understand what typography is out in the world that is not being represented in the current time and space. So really interesting, designed by Anne Suerto Kuchma, and she's also in the room. We had a shout out in our monthly spotlight on our newsletter and on our Instagram feed was spotlighting Anne for her wonderful typographic approach to this layout. She had to take all of these many pages of research, which can be very technical and boring when you're looking at computer sciences, programming, artificial intelligence, and algorithms. But she found a way to spice it up with typography and really fun catalog design approach. So this will be for sale by Drawdown. We'll announce it in our newsletter when it's up on their website. But as of tonight, we'll be doing at the end of the night a giveaway and announcing someone in the room, someone in the audience on our virtual audience. So if you're tuning in from Facebook, YouTube, or anywhere, and you're engaging in a chat, we'll enter you in a raffle to win, and we'll reach out to you to get your address. We can ship it direct to you, completely contactless. So this is us back when we were in person, when we could be in person. We miss those days. We had a huge and wonderful community, a very diverse set of folks coming together. And this was at the HMCT when they hosted our events at Art Center here in Pasadena. And as you can see, lots of smiling faces. We always had beer, pizza, wine. It was a great time. And what we're trying to do for everyone now, we know it's been hard in the social distancing time. So we're trying to keep this virtual space going to make it feel just as engaging as when we were all in person. Nothing can replace the in-person interaction, but we're here doing these once a month, these live streams, and having live audience members to come on and presenters to show work so that we can continue to feel like we are able to connect and have community in these times. So if you love what we do, please support your community by donating today. We would love it if you go to paypal.me/TypeThursday. We'll leave a little note for donation, Type Thursday Los Angeles. And this chapter needs funds to be able to support our community. Everything that we earn helps us go into our operation cost, and we ultimately give it back to the community with fun giveaways. We want to do more. And so support your community, show us you love us. $1 from everyone in this room watching this live stream right now would be so beneficial, even if it was $50 that we made. That's $50 more we didn't have to go towards like expenses that we've got to deal with Zoom and things. So please help us out if you love us. And if you can't, just feel free to share the work we're doing, share on your social media channels, and follow us on all the places. You can connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, hashtag us, newsletter. If you want to sign up, just go to our website. And you can email us if you have a question or you want to be a part of our wonderful community, because we are looking for volunteers. So connect with us, reach out to us. We're really responsive through direct message on Instagram, especially. I'll just let you know that right now. And through email. If you want to be a part of this community, we need people to help with our marketing, with our design, with our social media. We have wonderful things going on and wonderful initiatives we want to launch. So if you're a designer who's looking for some work to add to your portfolio, this is a great opportunity for you to learn. And if you feel like you've been missing on a community and you've just been working in your room and haven't left the house, this is a great way for you to connect with your community, because we try to keep connected with each other. Even when we're not doing these monthly meetups, we stay connected to each other. So join the community, be a part of the Type family. So what's happening tonight? We talked about the HMCT catalog giveaway, so make sure you're posting reactions, thoughts, comments, feedback. Whatever you see, please react to it. Let us know what your feelings, thoughts are. How can the presenters improve their work in the chat, because your participation counts. And we will put you into a raffle to win. And we got our TypeCrit format. I'm actually going to let Mr. Michael Mondragon explain a little bit about our TypeCrit format.
Yeah, so we give the opportunity to, 2 or 3 people. We have 3 tonight to present works in progress, things they want feedback on, and we give them the opportunity to do that. And then we actually, I'll do a short little like Q&A, and then we have people in our green room, as it were, to come on and give some more feedback. We also ask participation in our audience to things that they see in it, and we definitely encourage that as well. So yeah, that's it, and it's a very safe space. We try to encourage people and but also give them the feedback that they probably would like to hear as well. So yeah, that's it. We're going to start with our first presenter.
Yeah, so we can join in on our first presenter. And I should also say too, if you need a little bit more time than 5 minutes, because we're in the virtual space, that's okay. Take the time you need. Don't feel like you're being rushed. Enjoy your presentation process, and we will try to have a wonderful dialogue around what we see and witness.
Yeah.
Mr. Michael.
Yeah. Let's do this. All right. So our first presenter tonight is George Thriller Gomez. Now, I aspire to have a moniker as well, but Thriller is a great moniker to have if you're going to have one. You can find him on Instagram actually at The Money Studio. He's a graphic designer, and actually it says that he's painted and does murals as well. So I'm interested to see the work that he's going to be presenting. Let me bring him on stage right now. Hello, George.
Hi.
Nice to see you. What are you going to be presenting tonight?
I'm actually going to show you a little bit of my work that I've been doing as far as murals.
Great. So if you want to share in our green room, if you guys, whoever would like to come on, just give me in the private chat. Just let me know, and then I'll bring you on after we do our little Q&A after it. So, so actually, you're already sharing, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me add that to the stream. There you go.
Oh, wait, that's not mine.
Did I do the wrong one?
No worries there. We'll find the right one. There's Alan's.
Oh, that's right. You have to redo yours. Yeah, we had our other presenters up. So yeah, you have to reshare.
Mm-hmm.
There's it up.
Let me check it out.
It's that little privacy
there it
thing
is.
that Apple loves to do. There we go. Yeah, we're in it.
All right,
Yep.
so are we ready?
Yeah, if you want to go full screen with that. Can you do that? If not,
Yeah.
it's all good.
Cool. Yeah, so my name is George Thriller Gomez. I've been designing probably since 2010, but even longer, I've been doing graffiti since I was in 5th grade. I've worked in various industries, advertising, various creative studios, interior design studios, apparel companies, some nonprofits, and sign and silk screening shops. But in 2020, I kind of quit all that and I started producing work under the Money Studio. Some of the things I do is with my lettering is things of this sort. And I usually slap it on products and sell it. And some of the profits I like to shoot off to nonprofits such as Border Angels or Border Kindness. And then I also focus in on brand identity. And these are some of the logos that I've done in the past year or so. And I'm currently transitioning and trying to specialize in brand strategy. But today what I'm going to share with y'all is my ongoing project that's been going on for probably 5 years now, and it's the tracks. That's what I like to call them. Back in 2014, one day when I was coming home from work, I was trying to dodge LA traffic, and I ended up taking a bunch of cut streets, and I ended up in this neighborhood in the Hyde Park area. It's also known as the Crenshaw District, and I saw a business owner standing outside of his building, and I thought, what the hell? I'm going to ask him for permission to paint a mural on his building. He didn't even hesitate. He said, go ahead. Because before, the tracks used to kind of look like this, very gray, very dim. Nobody really was back there unless they were doing really poor graffiti. And yeah, this is was my intro to the tracks, and this was actually the first building that I painted. And since I thought it was so easy, I went ahead and I knocked on everybody's door, and I hunted down all the business owners, and I asked them for permission to paint their buildings adjacent to the train tracks. Most of them said yes. Those that didn't, eventually I was able to convince them. And once I had all this space, I kind of didn't know what to do with it. So I just set some goals for myself. One was that I wanted to paint what I've always envisioned. Two, I wanted to step out of my comfort zone. And three, more than anything, I wanted to create an outdoor gallery for other graffiti writers, artists in general, and the neighborhood more than anything to enjoy. And then along with that came establishing, I guess you could call it a rule. And it's something that I would tell other graffiti writers that would visit the place, and it was be prepared to take up an entire building or space or get capped, meaning that I was going to go over their artwork if it wasn't up to standard. And with that being said, I needed to go ahead and set the standard. One of the first things that I wanted to do was actually hand-painted signage. The one on the right is one of my first pieces that I did. And then I went ahead and I tried something bigger. These are lyrics by the Jackson 5, Who's Loving You? And the thing here that taught me a lot was that I was able to communicate with the community. And these kids that you see on the bottom left, they were actually going back and forth from their home to the liquor store because they kept seeing me paint, and they were just really curious. And finally, they kind of grew the courage to walk over and ask me what I was doing. I told them I was painting, and if they wanted to join, and they said yeah. So I told them, go tell your parents where you're going to be at, and they came back with permission, and I gave them a really quick workshop on how to do some quick hand painted signs. Taught them how to use the brush, how to properly clean it, how to do straight lines, curves, and fill in within the lines, follow the chalk lines. And that was my first introduction to really dealing hands-on with the community itself. Next, I kind of wanted to challenge myself, so I did a large-scale mural on one of the buildings. This building's probably 90 feet long, 20 feet high, and I was able to kind of bring on a group of friends to help me because it was a lot of work, and we collaborated on it, and we kind of layered a bunch of textures, and we had fun. It was 2 days of just everybody tagging on the wall, doing different letters and going over each other. And eventually I kind of wanted to do some big time lettering that would kind of communicate something big. So I did the word changes. And this kind of taught me a lot about doing large scale murals in a sense of everything was handmade. There was no projector. I had to measure the wall, measure every single letter out beforehand, chalk it out, make sure all the lines were straight. And you could see me in the bottom right filling in the letters. Next, I kind of wanted to push my illustration a little bit more on the wall because it was something that I had never really done. So I came up with this comic book strip, and this is where I kind of emphasize a lot on building grid systems, doing all the prep work on the wall, measuring things out, because it really does make everything easier. And in my case, it was a lot of pain and supplies that I would have to carry to the middle of the tracks. I couldn't just pull up my car and unload everything and then load it back up and drive away. I would have to walk half a mile with 5-gallon buckets and extensions and ladders. So I really did have to plan all this stuff out. And here you can see that the process was a little bit faster when I did all that prep work. I was able to do the background, do the squares, and bring along also friends and just guide them, telling them, oh, this is your square where you paint. And here's the rest of the wall. One big influence that I definitely have, I know a lot of designers and just people in general have, is music. Every time I hear music, it's I just see the words visually, and so I really write it down and I try to express it in every single way that I see it in my head. So you're gonna see that throughout my work. It's just using lyrics. Next is this mural that was inspired. Well, it was one of those murals where I wanted to push myself and step out of my comfort zone. So this really pushed me because it was in a sense of painting something more realistic. I'm not really that type of person to be painting realistic stuff on walls. And also Gemma O'Brien's work was really inspiring me at the time, and especially her use of patterns. And I wanted to try my own version of that. So here I painted my girlfriend's name, another large scale mural. Next is another thing that I've always envisioned, that I always wanted to try, which is take my traditional graffiti letters and incorporate typography. And it took me a while to really figure out how I wanted to see it done on paper and then a wall. And here I did Nipsey Hussle's Double Up song. And I specifically picked one of his songs because this is his neighborhood. And I kind of wanted to commemorate something towards him. And if you know a little bit about him, he did a lot of work for the community, and he always emphasized on entrepreneurship and just helping people from lower income communities really raise up and above. So this was kind of my way to commemorate his work. So that being said, the following year was when Nipsey Hussle was actually murdered. And I felt that it was only right to do a tribute piece to him in one of the main walls where it's seen from the main street that would be legible for everybody to see and just come and pay their respects. This was done really quick and spur of the moment. You know, it happened one day and I decided I needed to paint this the next day. And all those pieces and murals that you saw beforehand, all the prep work I had done really allowed me to just be able to rush the process in a sense. because like you can see my sketch up in the top left-hand corner. This one isn't to scale. There's no measurements. It's a rough idea. And what I ended up producing looks kind of, doesn't really look like the sketch. Everything got relayed out, but it's because I'm able to show up to the wall and do proper measurements, break up the letters evenly, make sure the kerning is correct, the spacing is correct, and also just have fun with the typography. And here's a picture of the whole thing. And I want to leave with my most ambitious project. This one actually took about 4 days to produce. On the second day, I kind of needed to stop because I was suffering from exhaustion, got pretty sick. So I just took a day off and came back the next day. Because it was just so much detail. It was such a big wall. It's probably 20 feet by 60 feet. And this was another one of those projects where I had a couple friends come out and help me do the base for all the shapes. And then I kind of gave them free range on letting them tag their name on the wall and where they envision they're having their graffiti. This is definitely, I mean, if you go to downtown LA right now, this is probably what it looks like. A lot of the streets look like this. So that was kind of like the reference. There's some minor political statements being made in there too, and that I definitely wanted to put in. And here's the large scale version of it. And that kind of wraps up my work. You know, you could see more of it on my Instagram and my website. And if you guys have any other questions that you think of later on, you know, feel free to email me.
That is awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Very cool. And I'm very impressed. Are you, did you go to school or are you self-taught or like?
No, I definitely went to school. I graduated in 2011 from the Art Institute when it used to be in Santa Monica.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, your work is outstanding. And, but I wanted to call to attention before I forget it. Something that you did that, that I thought was very, very telling about you and your personality. When I was 19, a really big, which was, you know, in the 60s. No, I'm just kidding. It was in the 80s, but sign painting was a big deal. And that's how they did a lot of advertisements. So a lot of, you know, stores would do it, and they were always really great. And I remember being 19 and walked up to somebody who was doing the sign painting because, you know, as someone who was young and I didn't think that I would go to school for art, and I didn't. But I was super interested in taking my artistic ability and doing something with it. And I saw, oh, wow, that's really interesting. I wonder how you get into it, how you do it. So I actually walked up to the guy and I said, you know, how do you get into this? How do you do this? And the guy said to me, yeah, you don't want to do this. And it didn't discourage me because that's how I actually started. Despite that, I went into and I actually got a job at a record store and I started doing sign painting. 30 years later, here I am. But my point that I wanted to make about you was that you didn't see people coming up to you and say like, oh, just, you know, get away from me or discourage them. You actually included them in your process. Yeah. And that's very impressive. And because not everybody would do that right away. So I thought it was really telling about you and your personality and how you kind of operate. We also have a lot of sign painters in the chat as well. So yeah. And another thing I wanted to bring to prominence is you kind of thought a little bit differently too, using perspectives and depth in your work as well. I thought that was very impressive. So like what I mean, you were talking about Gemma, which is, you know, she's absolutely outstanding. And so, but yeah, it's, you know, seeing other artists, how they approach something, you're like, of course. And then you just go and do your own thing. So very impressive. I'm very impressed by your everything. Mateo, did you have anything you want to say?
I do, but Laura jumped in. She'd love to go first as a response because she wants to practice public speaking. So Laura, want to jump in here? And then Rachel Cologne also next, and then I'll go third, Mr. Michael.
Okay, you got it. Laura, take yourself off mute. That's lesson 1.
Lesson 1. Can you hear me now?
Yes, you can.
Hi, Thriller. Hi, George.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. I'm Laura, and I just want to start off by saying that what you presented was really great. I also have been drawing since I was very little, junior high, but I've only gone to the point where I've drawn indoor, and I never had the courage to go outside and do it illegally. So, but I want to start by saying that you're brave. Brave for asking those owners to draw on those walls. Brave for doing all that work and leaving your job and going at this full time. You know, just brave for continuing to do what you love. So like I like everything that I'm seeing here. The only thing that I would recommend for me, I do a lot of digital now because I do draw, but I do a lot of digital now. So I try to envision first multiple times on paper and screen before I go to the wall. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, good work.
Appreciate it. Thanks for the feedback.
Nice. Rachel, did you say you didn't want to come on? I think she said that. Well, we're going to put her in.
2 Rachels. Yeah, there we go. Rachel Cologne. There we go.
Yes.
And, Rachel Elnar was wondering if we could have the artwork up as a visual possible.
Yeah, keep the artwork up. We'll do that for the next presenters.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, Rachel.
Hi. Hi, George.
Hi.
Excellent work. So impressive. Wow. Some thoughts that came to mind when I was looking at your murals is that in many of the murals that you have created, you combine all these different typefaces, and how, because it's such a large format, that it really works. It works well and it serves well, and it also adds to your style as an artist, as a designer, where, you know, if I were to do that, maybe in a smaller format, it might not work so well. So I really want to commend you for doing that. The other thing was that, you know, one of my favorite murals that you created was the one where you involve the community. And I'm just blown away by that. You know, my hat's off to you. And I think that's so important to be able to provide that for the community. And the community got to contribute to it. So it was like for the community, by the community. So a question for you is if you plan on doing more works like that, and or if you plan on doing more projects where possibly you could teach, you know, younger generations and, you know, have it also be a part of this community project. Yeah,
definitely. That's something that's I'm always talking about, something that I would love to do more of. Hey, if you have the connections, you know, hit me up because I'm all about it.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I just wanted to add that because I think I can definitely see that happening, and that it's a huge, huge service that the LA, a lot of communities need in Los Angeles, especially communities of color.
Yeah.
So, yeah, cool.
Yeah, I'm going to bring in Hannah because she says she's always happy to chime in.
Yes, I am. Thank you. So yeah, I just want to reiterate everything everyone else has said. Like, your work is really amazing. I'm also really impressed that you had the courage to just go ask people if you could paint on their walls, because I really respect that. And it's awesome that they said yes. I hope you can continue doing that. I think one thing I wanted to say was I really liked the combination of graffiti style lettering and then the layouts that you're using. I think it's a really interesting combination because the types of layouts you're doing really reminds me of a lot of work I see on Instagram lately, like hand lettering. And I've never seen anyone combine those two really different styles. And I think it works really well. I think the other thing I wanted to say was just in terms of like the progression of your work. I really loved the Nipsey Hussle piece with like the really big letters. I think in general for a mural, it's nice to have like just larger letters just so they're easier to read, like from a car, from a train or whatever. But yeah, overall it's like super impressive. It was a lot of fun to look at.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Mateo, you said you wanted to go?
Yeah, I just want to say, Jorge, since we connected, like I've been so excited because your energy comes through even virtually, and I have no clue like the magnitude of scale you've been working on. I saw your Instagram page, and I mean, if you haven't followed Money Studio yet, you need to go follow because it's lit. And there's so much good graphics on there. There's so many good hand lettering pieces on there. Yeah, there you go. And there you go. Rachel's on. And but I did not realize because Instagram could never really show us like the scale at which you're executing some of these things. And I wanted to echo some of Rachel's ideas, like about like number one, like you're combining multiple typefaces and they're working because you're working at such a large scale. And plus, like graffiti art, graffiti design, it's its own unique territory and landscape, and I think it works really well in this case. I love the Nipsey Hussle piece and like dedication and the community aspect of you getting members of the community involved, because that is like just so touching. Like we need that right now, and that we can gather outdoors and I think in a safe way with masks on, and be able to contribute still is so special. And on top of that, like it reminded me, your community piece reminded me a lot of Keith Haring. I'm not sure if you know who Keith Haring was.
Of course, yeah.
There you go. So, I mean, for those who don't know, he was a out gay man, artist, activist in the HIV/AIDS 80s epidemic. He was really outspoken because he had contracted HIV and turned to AIDS, and there was no one at the time who was helping the community to combat this virus, this epidemic that was plaguing not just the gay community, but the whole community. It blew up really rapidly and really fast. And so Keith Haring, as an artist, took it upon himself to start doing mural art that would highlight what the community was living through emotionally. And then he even involved the community on a lot of mural pieces and got commissioned by the city on a lot of projects, I think in New York City, to do these big murals and transportation stations and large like open areas. And he would get people from the community involved and basically hand them a paintbrush and teach them how to contribute, and then let everyone contribute. And so you had this mural that became a moment of documenting history, but also a moment of like engaging diverse folks who were underrepresented at the time, and then a lesson, like a teaching, right? So how many of those people that engaged with him went on and were changed forever because of that? So you're doing that, man. Like you're doing it in the now. So thank you for doing this work, and I'm so excited. I think I agree with Rachel again on the idea of like you should be doing this with the city, with LA. Yep. You should be winning grants to do that beautify areas that need it. And statement pieces for the times, as well, because like we've got so many issues happening in this world, and the type of design and art you're doing is the type that I love the most. It's statement work, it's a piece of saying that let's acknowledge what we're seeing, and so we all can sort of face this together, because then we can imagine a future that is better. So keep on doing it, man.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, very nicely done. Thank you so much. All right. So I'm going to bring on our next presenter. Let me clear out our distinguished critiquers. Thank you, Laura. Appreciate it. And thank you, George.
Thanks, George.
All right. Alan is our next presenter. Let me bring him on right now. Hello, Alan.
Hello.
How do you pronounce your last name?
Shu.
Shu. Okay,
Shu.
I didn't want to get that wrong. And you're an art center student.
Yes.
What are you going to be presenting tonight?
I'll be presenting one of my communication design 2 work, a zine, also known as magazine. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, go for it.
first, a little bit about this project. It was first we were presented with 4 different artists, and we were supposed to choose one that we really liked and then go into research about it. So me and a small group of people that chose the same artist, we chose Situationist Internationals, which is a group of activists back in 1960s that was trying to abolish and eradicate consumerism. And so for my first process, we were supposed to create 3 spreads of 3 versions and 3 spreads per version of magazine design. And for my first one, it was really simple. All I did was go up, look for some picture online, and then put it into a magazine and put an article in there too. This is the first version, second variation, and the third one. And unfortunately, for my first draft, it was actually really bad because I understood the assignment wrong. We were supposed to do something more experimental and not so much editorial. So I was like, it's okay. I'll just pick myself back up and try again. And for next week, I decided to go something more organic and a little more crazy. I printed the pictures, and I ripped them up and isolated them using Photoshop. And I also did another one where I used them for bitmap in Photoshop, which kind of creates the pop art or comic feeling. And I also created some smaller graphics or elements just with my Sharpie. And this is the first variation with the bitmapping. I used some RGB, red, green, blue to highlight faces. And the second variation with call it extreme minimalism. And the third one is the one that's more organic with the ripped papers. And for this week, we were also supposed to bring in another set of article and using the same 3 style and then put it onto a new article. And this is a new article, first one with the bitmap and RGB, the ultra minimalistic, kind of my favorite one with the ripped paper. This one's more organized and has more space, which let the text breathe. And for next, our teacher chose 2 that were really good from our 6, and then we were supposed to build upon and improve upon it. And this time I decided to put my hand in. So I took a picture of my hand, I used Photoshop, changed the color, take it out, and then put another different bitmap into it. And I also added fluorescent colors. And this is the first one, first page, first variation, first page, second page, third one. And this is the second variation with the hand and the fluorescent colors, second page, third one. And also my third variation, which is also the ripped paper, the first page, second page, and third one. And the next part, the part 4, is we had a contrasting idea that we can choose ourselves, and I chose utopia. And then we're supposed to bring our own original images and then take pictures and then put it in our magazine. And here I'll show you some of my picture I created from just getting stuff from Michael's. And out of the 100 picture, I chose these 7 as my favorite. And I put it in Photoshop to process it and make it more look dramatic. And this one's my absolute favorite one. And as you can see, I took a more abstract way of expressing the topic utopia. And I also did similar like my last variations where I ripped the images up and then put fluorescent colors over it. And then this is what I got for what I have right now. The first page of the first variation, second page, third one, and also another variation but with a new article. First page, second one, and the third page. And that's about it. Thank you.
No, outstanding work. as I said, this is a bit of a renaissance for me, seeing two young people doing basically what I did when I was young, is painting, and now making a magazine. I made my own fanzine when I was young as well, and it was actually a very good exercise in taking my design talents towards something that I was passionate about, and that's what you're doing here. So I love it. I think it was process, or the third one, where you were experimenting with like halftoning and bitmaps. Not, were you using halftones or bitmaps? Were you just converting it to bitmap?
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm super, and in fact, I just reached for the book. So I was super inspired by David Carson. So I wanted to make my version of everything he was doing. Yeah, he did like bikini magazines, skateboarding magazines, and just like these really seminal magazines at the time. One of the big criticisms about him was keeping the article actually legible, during this process too. And you've done that. You've had that balance in between, kind of being scattered, but also keeping the legibility. It would be interesting. The one thing that I see here is the type is actually really safe.
Mhm.
I think with what you're doing, just even giving it a little bit of, tilted, but not too much, where you can't read it or step it, those types of things. And it's like, because I love the experimentation. And also I feel like you're very careful not to let things overlap over each other, but you're very selective about it.
Right.
But maybe letting the type go over a little bit, like get a little dangerous, but still make it legible. So that was always the balance that I always loved, that, they probably pushed it probably too far sometimes where it was illegible, but I think that was kind of the beauty of it as well, in some of the stuff I saw. But they experimented with photography as well, and that's what you're doing. So I think that, you all your instincts are really good right now, and I see it in your work. So outstanding.
Thank you.
Mateo, did you want to say anything? Actually, and if anybody wants to come on and talk, just let me know in the private chat. Go ahead, Mateo.
Yeah, Alan, I wanted you to sort of like rewind it for us back to
Sure.
when you did the version 3, I think the organic.
With the hands, right?
No, right before the hands, right? I think it was like process 3. Keep going back. It was black and white. Right before that. Before that. Right. And then go back a little bit. I think that was it right there. This one right here. Okay, this one right here. This is it. So this, when you took your design from the safety of that minimalist approach, the safety of that editorial approach, and then you got like experimental and organic, and then you made this layout, I thought like this was the most successful piece of your exploration that I saw, because like as soon as I saw this spread, I truly fell into the world that you were trying to take me into. Like these visuals, they feel organic, they feel torn across the page, and it instantly draws my attention in. Especially the way that like there's that spread at the bottom that has kind of a spine thing going down at 3, and then you played with your arrow shapes really nicely, and your sharp. So I like how you took something so simple, I'm just like sketching and Sharpies, and we're able to bring that in as a texture into the spread. And I agree with Michael. Typographically, you still played it safe with this approach, but you experimented so much visually. So I can definitely tell you've got like a strong, sense of like the visual graphic side of things, and the typography sense. It's like you're still sticking to a lot of those rules, and like
Right.
play it safe and just be, plain Jane in there a little bit, I guess. But I think you could spice this up even more by, adding, where can you add in some drop caps? Where can you add in some intentional overlays where the type would overlap with an image that it's still legible? Or where could you blow out like a quote, right? And have like a running quote that would like really stand itself out? What punctuation's in there that you could use as a repeating graphic by blowing it up really large and using that to like draw attention into something that's really critical to what these to supporting these visuals. Because there's definitely like when I look at this spread, I fall into this world and there's something to be said, but then the type's not pulling me in all the way. Like it's so easy to read. There's plenty of white space for my eyes to drop in, but our attention span is competing all the time with other things that are grabbing our attention. So make that type now grab my attention, right? It's the job of typography is to pull us in, but then disappear as we begin reading. So parts of this that disappear, but they never pull you in all the way. The visual elements you've got definitely pull me in, but the type needs to do that next.
Yeah. And if you see the angles that you're using, like for instance, the crowd, that's, the way that they're, the angle that they're at, they're also looking at something, and obviously you have your arrow pointing to that guy. So like drawing the type into there kind of in an interesting way where it all draws in. So you're still using those shapes, to almost kind of like if you were to throw like a ball through a window, all the cracks go to where the impact is, right? So think about that, and you'll and then your other spreads, you'll see that you could do that very equally with that as well.
Gotcha.
Anne, did you want to?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I'm really proud of Alan. Good job for sharing. I know it's really scary and you're so early in your education at Art Center, and I went there too. We got yelled at pretty often. So I'm so proud of you for doing this.
Thank you.
I was gonna say I really like. Could you go back to the more colorful ones?
Yes.
Was that a little bit of an homage to John Baldessari, except you had squares instead of circles? Those are pretty fun. Like, yeah, any of those are the ones with the That's okay. You did it earlier. I love it, like almost like John Baldessari, except you had squares instead of circles. And I like that the colors that you pulled. Could you be doing what Michael said and what Mateo said? Like maybe those colors could be translated onto the type, so your typography can be pulled in, right? Like they say, tiny type is just as loud as really big type, right? So could it be like less type, but with a pop of color in a full black and white or gradient page, and now my eye is going right to it.
So
But
type as the hero, right?
What's that?
Type as the hero?
Yeah, type as a hero, but like in a sense, like in one of your pages that's all kind of grayed out, could you make it in just like in red? And that's really, it's gonna pop and it's gonna be a little bit legible as well. But I just wanted to say good job with the hand-torn stuff, with the marker. That organic feel is really, really nice, especially in this digital time. But thank you for sharing.
Yes, thank you, Anne. Chantel?
Hi, everybody. So I agree with Mateo. I was thinking about like how else can you add more copy to this, or like more text that's maybe darker and bolder that kind of goes along with the imagery. The imagery is so dark that I feel like you could add a little bit more texture with the copy. And I think like if you go to, can you go to some of the draft 3?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I love that you like took your own photography for this and incorporated that hand. It's so like utopian. But I think you were also trying to include like some sort of activist feel, right?
Right.
Okay. I was kind of thinking like with activism, there's always like those posters or something that's like big and bold. So I'm just wondering like maybe incorporating some more copy that has like that feel to it. And then if you go to like the final image, I think. Yeah, like with some of the imagery, I'm not sure if this was intentional, but you have a lot of like straight lines, even though it's ripped, like it's very straight and just like intersecting. Maybe I know you were playing with like having them more on an angle or something like that. Just, I think the straight lines and the intersections are kind of like it's just making it feel kind of tight in some places, I guess. So, but yeah, I love the colors. I love the imagery. Yeah, that's kind of all I have.
Thank you.
No, and I think what you're trying to say is like, where you have 90-degree angles. think 45, but then think 30. You know, it's just like, it's not 45, but it's still got that consistency, but it's like you're kind of tweaking it and not just being exact. So if you're gonna go for this, like go for it. Like, you know, put some splatters in there. You know, like do something that makes it dimensional. Go underneath of it and then drop the opacity of it just to give it some depth. You know, it's like, because that's what I think that's what you're trying to do, but it's there. But I think that are you trying to balance, like you don't want too much of your photography gone, but you don't want you know, exactly. So it's a lot of balance here. So yeah, you'll figure that out. And even if it's like, you know, see how like in the green on the right, you know, you could actually kind of keep a little bit like underneath of it, even if it was like, I don't know, like a water thing, and it's like watercolor almost, you know, but you can barely see it, but you can still see it. You know, those types of things that give it depth, you know. But those are little tricks. But I think your instincts are so perfect right now. But now I think I'm giving you permission to go for it.
Gotcha.
I wonder also, like, did you want to just stick with one font, or maybe want to bring in another typeface?
We were assigned and we had to use the same font for all the variations that we chose. Yeah.
Okay, I figured.
Yeah, and I chose the monospace because kind of counteracts the organicness, and I thought it would bring out the type a bit more rather than something more like a sans serif. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, but these are all things that's just like you just have to just keep on doing it and just, you know, see it from different angles, see it from different, you know, put it up in front of you, just let it stare at you, and it'll all figure itself out in your brain. No, but thank you for presenting. This is beautiful work. No Appreciate it.
I wanted to riff off of something Michael had said. It's like you inspired something here in this visual, Michael, of like this idea of like you could play with this a lot more, Alan. You don't have to with like a 90-degree angle. You could, you know, tout it to a 45 and then get really organic, you know, and then just start tweaking that even more and more, because it still feels like as Chantel was pointing out, there's just a straight line still, even though it's ripped and organic. So it's kind of still like straddling this safe side of things. But also, you know, I like that we had talked about, like, you want to like keep the integrity of your photography in this piece as well, because these are some like thought-provoking photos. So there's something to be said there. But there's a lot of like, when I look at these photos, there's a lot of negative space you could play with that you're not playing with. So holding the ring in the purple, there's a really dark sort of like saturation of that purple happening in the nice negative space. Well, you could take some statement of this type and put it into that space, you know, to make it jump out a little bit, and that way our eyes are actually drawn into the photo to read the type, and then we read the statement to go to the green side, and you could have another statement somewhere playing with the negative space in the green photography that's happening over there. So,
yeah, I'd love to see like a whole page of green, you know, and then where the black kind of swirl, that's white, you know, that goes along with what your color is over there, and not like pure white, but like the white in your ring, you know. So it's like that's that balance, and then, you know, maybe white type, you know, so it's all it kind of all flows together. So these are the types of things that you'll just have to just experiment over and over with, and just kind of see what the play is. Yeah.
Play around, go out, right?
Yeah. And I want to say, like, you're on the right path, thinking like to go with a mono width font is very unique. Like most spreads will not use a mono width font. You know, this is mostly seen in coding, right, for your screen and such. But mono width fonts, there's some very beautiful ones. But I can't tell if this one's beautiful or not because the fonts is so small. So that's where you've got to play with like finding the statements within this copy that you have here, and blow out the ones that, you know, that draw someone's curiosity. They say just enough to read that like headline that could be there, that could span across this really big, show off that width and the mono width base, right? And just be like, oh wow, like someone's eyes will be caught by that because it's not a sans serif, it's not a serif, it's a, you know, mono width font in a printed spread. And so if it's at a huge scale, or even one character standing on its own at a large scale, so like a drop cap in there, would really like draw interest because you're just doing something differently.
Good point.
Mm-hmm.
I had a thought also, like while you were talking, like with the imagery, you have some really cool shapes, like simple circular shapes going on. And with the layout, I feel like you could like maybe zoom in and crop in to some of those and just have those be like the background, like creating texture or whatever. And then have like one like, you know, ripped image that's like the focus that kind of goes along with the copy. So like you have those little character, like miniature people kind of standing in there. And that's like the detail that people want to see that like goes along with the copy. So I wonder if you could just like, you know, pick one image for each, you know, layout so that it, you know, goes with whatever's being written.
Gotcha.
Yeah, great stuff. So thank you, Alan, for presenting. It's
problem.
Beautiful work.
Happy to be here. Happy to be here. Yep.
Yeah, you did great. Thank you so much. All right, so let me get our next presenter up.
Thanks, Chantel, for the feedback.
Yeah, thank you so much. So let's pull Hervey in. Hello, Hervey.
Hey, everyone. How are you?
Bienvenidos Mexico City, right?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
Gracias.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so you're a creative director, and you also work in UI UX, correct?
Yes. Yes, I'm really happy to be here, and I'm really excited to see the projects of Alan and Jorge, because in the agency where I work, it is really important to have this balance between corporate design and the freedom and more art, you know, and I'm excited. I'm going to show you more corporate work. It's not that free, but it's a work on progress that I'm working right now.
Great. So let me pull that up and you can go for it.
And I was going to say, Herbie, you touched on something we love at Type Thursday, Los Angeles and global. We love to see diverse work shown. So it's like going from this wild freedom street art to, you know, some structured print magazine stuff to now very like, you know, corporate. Got to be suit and tie in your presentation a bit. So we're excited to see what you bring us and the diversity there. And also thanks for coming, crossing the virtual border, coming back to the city. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I'm really happy to share my work today, because I'm basically work in making annual reports and sustainability reports for these global companies. So basically I do this for 6 months, and then the other months I are more creative. I can make more and different projects, but right now almost nobody knows what annual report is or a sustainability report is, because it is very specific for big companies, because they need to share this information with the stock markets and the investors of the company, and also with another stakeholders, no, the community, the employees, etc. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the process that I follow when I start a annual report. First, I have a meeting with the client, and this last year we have a lot of Zoom meetings, and in those meetings we always show the client the benchmark or the what's in attendance. So we always tell them about the storytelling, because I believe that a storytelling is the center of everything. It doesn't matter if it's a magazine or if this is a mural or if it's gonna be, I don't know, a website. The storytelling is really, really, really important to communicate. That's the beginning of the project. And now these days, more than ever, mobile first is very, very important. Clarity and legibility. the structure and the accessibility to the information, because these days, everyone is so busy. So we need to find the information really fast, because if you don't find it, you close the window, you change the website. And so the accessibility to the information is really, really, really important. And more at these projects, because an annual report or a sustainability report is a project with 200 pages. So you need to be able to find the information. After that, we get the key messages of the company. We make it like, what was the most important thing that happened in the year? So after that, we get and we combine some of the phrases that the client shared with us. And after that, we start to create a concept or the storytelling of the project. We also work with the client. We used to design and create back in the agency, but we learned that sharing the inspiration with the client is a key, because in that way you can understand what the client wants, what the client likes, or what they dislike. So we share these mood boards, and we mark with a green circle the things that the client likes, and we cross with this red line the things they don't like. Because sometimes as a creative or as a graphic designer, it's very easy for you to lose this line that this client is hiring you for you to create a message, no? So a lot of people, it's like, oh, I love the red color, but you're working for Pepsi, not for Coca-Cola. So you have to, at the end, you have to work under a brand book. And I think that is one of the biggest challenges, because when you have freedom, you can literally do whatever you want. But working with a global company that has a specific brand book, it's a really big challenge. So this is the proposal of the project that I make. This is the cover of the PDF file. And the main concept starts here. It says in Spanish, always close. No? And the next page, we always put on the concept so that people can understand why are we creating this, no? And well, it says in resume, today more than ever, we know that the distance is not important. We're always close. Close, not closed. And this is very important because as a society, this last year, 2020, it was really hard for all of us because we were at home, stuck at home, but we sometimes forgot that these big companies, they are still working. This annual report is very focused on thanking to the employees, because for us to be safe at home, they were working every day. They were exposing themselves for us to have food, for us to have milk, for us to have all the commodities that we have or that we buy from our cell phones. And back there is a lot of people working for us to get all those things. So this is the cover of the first chapter, where it says our goal is to be close all the time. And we created this layout with the photo of the city at night. This is Mexico City, actually. And we Photoshopped these little messages like people was buying online around the city. And this is one of the pages from the inside. And in here is where the challenge begins with the typography, because you have to work with the client typography. We cannot use a different typography, but at the end, this typography can be fun because you can change the size, you can change the color, you can make it bold or light or extra light, or depending the message that you want to say. The typography is not only diversity, but with the same typography, you can help the person that is reading this report and telling him what do you want him to read first. No, the size is really important, and the heritage of the typography. Using the colors of the client, it's also a challenge because you have to make it looks attractive, but also make it fun. No, this kind of books or this kind of projects has a lot of financial information. So this is also very important that I have to create these different colors to show the people the year that we are talking about, but also making it look cool. The whole storytelling of this project is about how technology keep us together. No, maybe we were separate, but at the end, all the technology and all the social media and all these new tools help us to be close. No, so that's why we use this kind of layouts. Like if the people were inside a cell phone or inside a social media, Instagram, and we keep the storytelling in every chapter. It says always close of those who matters. And this chapter talks about clients and the employees, how they live together and how technology put them together. This is another chapter. It says always close to those who decided never stop. No, and it talks about all the doctors and all the people that stays there in the front line working and facing the COVID. This one says close to those who stay at home. No, because at the end, through all this social media and their apps and everything, they are close to you. This is another page. And also something very important is that all these projects, because like I was saying, the access to the information is really important. We decided to put this little menu up in here. And because it is a PDF, it is an interactive PDF. So you can go and navigate through all the document using this little menu in the top of the project. And it also tells you where are you in the document, so you don't lose yourself. Depending on the page, the menu changes to let you know where are you. Again, the data and all the charts are next to something that helps the communication to let you understand what are you talking about. This chart is talking about sales. So now we put this kind of things next to the chart. This is another chart. This is a different chart that we use for the information to make it different, to make it attractive. This is another pie chart. This is another chapter, and it says, always close to those who give us strength. And we try to show the different employees that this company have, because they have employees that work in the corporate area, but they also have people from distribution centers and old people and young people and people from all the colors. So it is important to show that technology unites them and give them the same image and the same brand. This chapter talks about the financial information. So it says, always close of those who trust us. This chapter talks about all the environmental things that they do. So we put on this little girl, and it says, always close of those who are the future. This chapter speaks and talks about the suppliers. So the copy says, always close of those who need it the most. And this is the last chapter, says, always close of those who do the right thing. No? And it was the proposal that we showed to the client, and it happens in December. So now the project is live, and now all the heavy work starts, because you have to get all the information together. You have to create and replicate the pictures, because in all these chapters and all these little covers, this is real photos of the client, but in some of them it's photos from stock. For example, this one is from stock. This one too. So now we have to recreate the photos. So last month we start to replicate the real pictures. So we hire models. We had a COVID test first, so to make it safe. And this is me posing for the model to understand what they need to do. And this is the last picture. They both are models. And this is me trying to explain the girl and the model how she has to pose. And at the end, this is how we are going to use the photo inside the project. And this is what the client gives to me, a Word file. And they highlighted this, no? They say, I need a timeline of the evolution of the e-commerce of the company. So I took this information and changed it into this. No, this is graphic design, and this is my daily challenges. Get a Word file that looks like this and make it into something like this. No? This is one of the projects that I'm working right now. I don't know if I can show you another one really fast. Can you see my screen? Did it change?
Yeah, we see it.
Okay. This is another project that I'm working right now for another company, and a totally different company. It is focused on water. So the concept or the storytelling is 360 degrees. Sorry for my English. And this is the second page. Again, this is where we explain the concept and why are we calling this annual report 360. This is the table of content. So you can find the information fast. This is one insider page. And again, this client has his very specific typography. So we have to work with their typography and their colors. We cannot use a different palette of color. This is one of the cover of the first chapter, and we created little marks like this one that says you are in the chapter number 1, you are in the chapter number 2, This is a map of the places where the company is located. This is another page, and we start to play with square shapes or rounded shapes, because again, we have to translate all the concept to the pages from the inside. This is another page. This is like the company profile, where their mission, their vision, and values are. This is another chapter, another one, a page from the inside. Again, it's really important for us to have this kind of words, and it's very important that the highlights are easy to find. Again, another picture from the inside, another one. Again, the highlights. We always use the same style for everything, because if you are reading one of these projects that has 200 pages, you have to locate the information really easy. Another chapter, another one, and another one, and another one. And that's it. And between the chapters, as if you saw, this marker is changing, because at the end, it is a 360 journey of the document. So these are 2 annual and sustainability reports. They are very different. They respect the identity of each brand. And yeah, this is what I do for a living.
Well, great. Thank you for sharing. If you could go back to your first presentation.
Yeah.
So who does the copywriting for this? Are you writing your own copy, or do they supply that?
No, I create the how can I say, the nice and the beautiful copy. And the client give me the full information, the real and the legal information. They gave it to me, but I create the titles, I create the entrance of every chapter. They give me the information. They said, this chapter is about employees.
Gotcha.
So I tried to create this information that sounds good and there is catchy, and that I try to follow the same line in the messages. So yes, I try to create this information, and obviously they give me the legal information.
Gotcha. And is this only for online, or are you going to be printing this out at some point?
No, actually, it used to be printed, but now because sustainability, they decided not to print anything else.
Okay.
So it is a complicated project, because also the main delivery is the PDF.
Okay.
But we also create a video that you can find at their website. And we create a specific website of this report. You can go to Walmart.com and go to the investor area, and there is the link to go to the website to download the PDF or to see the video. So right now the project is have a lot of faces for you to find it easily, because they have a lot of different stakeholders. So yeah, if you are a supplier, you can go to the website. If you are, actually they printed a little, like a resume of this project, because again, this project is so big that you need to short the information for a few people.
Yeah, my comment, my first comment was I'm glad it's being only online, because some of the fluorescent colors would be definitely a problem if you were going to print this out. They would not come out obviously the way that they're coming out. The other one is using a thinner type for your small type on stuff. I would say maybe maybe just bold that up a bit. I mean, definitely that will help the legibility of that.
Yeah.
If you go to, I think it's like page 29. This is going to be super nitpicky, so so bear with me for a second. 29. Maybe keep on going. I'll tell you when to stop. It might have even been that one, but like right here. See how your oh no, back one. There you go. See how your the text on the left, it's higher than the other text. It's not on that line. I would definitely you know, I noticed that in these types, the columns in between, they're really close together. I was saying that I would say like this is off the grid. If you're using a grid, this is definitely off. I can just visually see that. That's the creative director in me.
Yes.
But yeah, the other one was actually really well laid out. In fact, I like the type of the other one a lot better. But I mean, I work for a large corporation or large company as well, so I know using what you have to use what they give you. I'm going to let Mateo go, but if anybody would like to jump in, I know Rachel would like to jump in, so I'm gonna add her to the stream. So Mateo, go ahead. Anybody else who wants to jump in, let me know.
Herbie, you've got first of all, you have a huge monumental task in front of you, because you know you're not only doing design and layout, you're also doing copywriting. You're having to read the documentation, which can be extremely a lot of information to take in. Very dull format that they're handing it to you often with Word, and then you've got to like digest that and make it catchy and cool. And so one of the things I wanted to like give you some kudos on, to say you did a great job at the storytelling aspect of your entire the annual report. And I love the siempre cerca, like staying close, like that catch line, and then how in each of the chapters you change the perspective of a client or customer or stakeholder to say this is how we've stayed close together. So very well done with the storytelling aspect. But even on this slide, this page right here, Michael's comment holds true, that the light weight of that body copy text is so light against a bright green. It's very difficult for your eyes, someone, especially like investors are typically older folks, right? So their eyesight is not going to be as good. So when you think about accessibility, the weight of body copy definitely needs to be beefed up here to be more legible. Your title and your subtitle, the thickness and then the lightness works. It's fine. It's at that larger point size it will read, but the body copy definitely needs to be improved on that. One of the things I wanted to point out that I noticed a lot through the Walmart annual report is, let me see, I think I had a page number, the range, go to page 26, but we're on it. Yeah, actually we're on page 26. And then page 27. So this one, where's page 27? Take us there.
Yes.
Okay, so right here, I instantly noticed that the rag right, so on the right side of your copy, it's so jagged that it's just distracting to the eyes. Some words are a bit longer that, that rag is going to happen, but I think you could play with hyphenation or play with the width of these characters a bit to try and get that rag tighter, because it's so distracting. And there's a lot of pages throughout this document that the rag right was actually distracting me from the overall layout, because you do have a wonderful layout that's happening in some of these pages. But that messy rag happening is just like, you gotta get in there and tighten that up. As a designer, I would address that. I really like that you had the navigation menu built in, so great work there. And I'm going to hand it off to Rachel, because I know Rachel's going to have some great
as well. Thank you very much.
Hi, Herbie. How are you doing?
I'm great.
Good.
How are you?
Good. I have a list of things. So, but I'm going to start with you know, bird's eye view. You're talking about how the concept for this report is about staying close, being close, right? Typographically, the story is not being told. So image-wise, yes, I see that with the images, you're using that. And also with the 360, you're using that. But typographically, both reports are the same. Like if I strip those images, it would be the same reading style. We've got bold headers, we've got type together. So some ideas would be to, well, let's see, to group your type together and put them close. Maybe you wrap the body copy around the images so you have a lot of white space in the middle, therefore saying that we're close, you know, we're staying close.
Yes, it's true.
Mm-hmm. Headlines could be curved a little tighter. Again, your type is beautiful. It has a lot of space, though, especially your headlines. So again, to the idea, the concept of staying close could be really kerned very tightly. So again, someone who doesn't read Spanish could understand what it is. I would agree on Mike's and Mateo's. We need some hyphenation. Definitely the rags are very, very rough. Then let's see what else. Oh yes, definitely the knocked out type, too thin. If you're talking about accessibility of information, that needs to be reversed or beefed up. Yeah, I think that's mostly it. And so for the 361, I was just thinking that, again, the expression is put into the images, not into the typography. Some of the type, and when I say typography, I'm not saying typeface. I'm just saying like the use of the type, right? So it's 360. Some of the type could wrap around or flare out or say that, okay, if the type can demonstrate how 360 the thinking is for Roto Plus.
Yeah,
just some thoughts.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And at the end, I'm in the real project because I'm not showing the final project because at the end, the information that I have right now, it's private until March 10 when it becomes public. So yeah, in the real project, we are, my team is checking all these different words and all these alignments and all these projects aligned to the grid.
Yeah.
Because it is true. And this is simulated text that we do not put all that effort to all these little details because this is just the proposal. But the real project has, we check every word, if it may be too light or not, we change it depending the real information of the client. But yeah, those ideas, I didn't thought about the closing, the typography.
Yeah. So I'm just talking about expression. So, those tiny little details, obviously you're not in production phase yet, but before you go into the production phase, it's fun to play around a little bit with the type to echo the concept. This way, when you see it, you know that exactly what it's about instead of having to read it to understand the concept. That makes sense.
True. It's true. Thank you very much for your comments and your feedback. It's always important.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think in a lot of these things too, you might want to simplify the journey as well. Because I noticed that top bar is like I can't even like there's like almost like 8 choices, 7 choices. So it's like make it easier.
Yes. I'm fighting with the client because they want to like these huge titles that says a lot, and I'm like, it's a title. We have to use one word. But yeah. And at the end, the last or the final project, we removed this blue bar from here. It goes and it changed a little bit. But yes,
it's the eternal struggle. But you're going to be the one that has to say, like, listen, I know that a reader who's reading this is going to have a hard time getting through this. So you have to have a convincing, reason why you want to do what you want to do. Have it make sense. It'll make sense to them if you talk to them in that way.
Yeah, that's true.
Chantel, did you want to comment?
Yeah, I'll just add a few like other detailed comments. So I think we were talking about the top bar just recently, so maybe I'll start there. I like how you have it as like something that people can click and like move to a different section. Yes. I was wondering if there was like a certain, I noticed some pages have it, some pages don't. So is there like a certain reason why like they're sometimes there and sometimes not?
I tried to put them all along the document. I think they have it. Let me check it. The real and the final document, it has it. Yeah, these little chapters, it's true. But the real, the final project has it from the beginning of the every chapter.
Okay. All right. I wasn't sure, like there was a lot of pages, so I wasn't sure if I missed something.
No, thank you.
But yeah, I was just thinking like I like how they changed color. I was wondering if maybe they could have like a little bit more room around them so they look more kind of like a button. So, people just like think that they are clickable.
Yeah.
Oh, like even there it changed color. So it changes color based on chapter?
Yes.
Okay. I like that. Cool. Visual cues are always good. I love how for this like presentation in particular, like you were talking about closeness and that you like brought out the people in each image. So it feels like they're reaching out or they're actually physically close to you. So I really like that with the imagery. And then as far as like you have some like graphs, like infographic type stuff.
Yes, at the end.
If you could just find a page maybe with one of those.
Yes.
Yeah, like this here, this is really cool. The fact that you like broke down this information in a visual way, I'm sure is going to be super helpful.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure that I understand it though, so I wish I could like read Spanish.
Yeah. This one says these 17 topics. They are from the Global Compact, and it says the company has 5 of them, like their main points where they focused on. Let me get close. Oops. So it says that you can click on it. On this, they divided these 17 topics in environmental, social, and corporate governance. And it says that these are their top 5, but they also have they also participate on these topics.
Yeah, legibility is an issue here for me.
Yeah, and you know what? I already changed it in the real project, because we show it to the client just like I'm showing it to you. So showing it from a different screen, it make it even smaller. So the client, when we were presenting this, they were like, this is too small. So we changed the size of the typography, because yeah, it's difficult. And like I said, we change the information depending where and how you're watching it. because when it's on a website, we don't have the same type size or font size, because it's different for you to see it on your laptop than see it on your cell phone. No, so we change the typography because of it.
Yeah, this. I mean, that's going to be an issue if this is going to be for a cell phone. I think you have to have a much different configuration.
Yes.
So I don't even think it's even meant for a cell phone. So, but like you can see, like, you know, on those cards, like, you know, where the typography is like 2 lines, and then one of them is 3 lines. Next one is 3 lines. I think you could get away with doing it bigger on 2 lines, and have that consistent throughout the whole thing, and that would definitely help. Chantel, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off if I did.
No, I was just trying to think about like how else this could be presented, but I can't think of anything. Have you thought about like maybe putting captions or anything else, like some smaller text to explain some of the imagery?
We actually didn't, but it's a good comment. I can think about it.
Yeah, just something to support, like if you're not there to explain it, to support like what exactly is going on.
Yes.
The only other thing is, like, I'd love to see the other presentation again, just really quickly.
Yeah, sure.
I love the 360. That was really cool. Like, did you create those circles by like photoshopping the person?
Yes, I was spent like 2 hours watching a tutorial in YouTube, and I was like, it didn't work until I got the colors that I like and the shapes, because again, at the end, this is just the proposal that I showed to the client, but this is not the last project, or the real project, because we already have to produce these photos. So we are searching for the right people and the right colors for their clothes to create these beautiful like shapes, because they depend on the color of the people. So yes.
Could you go to page I think it was 7 for this one?
Yes. My computer is super slow because I'm sharing the screen. Oops. 7. Here it is.
Yeah, I was really interested by like the colors that you had going on here. Just trying to understand like what does the map represent, and like what are the point of the droplets?
Oh, the droplets says it's like these are the solutions, the products, or the service they have. They have storage. Okay, wait. They have a storage. They work on storage, improvement, conduction, like pipelines, plastic pipelines for you to use the water. Those are products. And at services, they have purification of water, treatment and recycling water, and e-commerce. Okay, wait, because my screen is okay. So now in the US or America, they only have e-commerce. In Mexico City, they have purification, treatment and recycling of water. They have conduction, they have improvements, and they have storage. In Central America, they have improvement and storage. At Peru, they have conduction, improvement, and storage. At Brazil, they only have storage, and Argentina, they have conduction, improvement, and storage.
Okay, yeah. I think what I would love to see, maybe to help make the connection, is like the little dots that make up the United, like each country or state.
Country.
Each country, sorry. I wish that they were like colored with those colors so I could understand, like, I don't know, maybe there's a percentage of, whatever the product or service is.
Yes.
But I don't think you have to go that far, but just seeing those colors make up each country would help me make the connection between the map and the products and services.
I think the message of this page is in the lower right hand corner, and I think that's like almost like secondary. So like the ultimate like lesson in this whole page is right there, and it's like I think you're really trying to get the because I was like, yeah, I have to look over here, I have to look over here, I have to look over here.
Yeah,
it's like,
it's true. Maybe.
But the main message is right. So like I think you should have the focus on that, and then have these little things be secondary. But then do it a little bit. I would say a little bit more effectively, so you didn't have to like, because you're really making the reader work really hard on this page.
Yeah. Yeah, because you have to see to the left to understand the right.
Right. So yeah, they're nothing. Yeah, it's all. True. So that would be my critique.
It's true. Thank you.
Yeah,
I haven't noticed it until I have to explain it to you right now. And
that's it. That's it. And quite frankly, I still don't know what's going on. Mm-hmm. So
it's true.
Yeah, so that's the whole thing. But the point is what's in the right hand corner.
We're almost done, but I do have one more thing. So if that's okay, Herbie, I was mentioning to use a typography to demonstrate we're always close. So I just want to show you an example.
Yeah, sure.
No, if Mike, this will come through okay, but
I'll solo you.
Yeah. So stack type works really well to demonstrate closeness.
Yes, it's great.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
True. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah. But thank you, Herb. I mean, I really enjoy seeing your work. Thank you for presenting all of this. It's been a tremendous joy. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm really happy to share this with designers because sometimes having these conversations with the client, it could be like, I want it this way, I want it that way. And it's like you have to always try to make them understand, but having feedback from real creative people and people that works on this and actually in a different country than me, it really helps, and really thank you very much for your sharings and your thoughts, because they actually make sense to me. All your comments. So thank you very much for all.
Oh, our pleasure. Our pleasure. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Herb. Thank you, Herbie.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Chantel. Let me, there you go.
Well, all righty, folks. I think we are at the top of our hour here, and it's been a great night. We've had awesome presentations from everyone. So if you stuck around till the end and you're wondering about that giveaway, what we're going to do is we're going to go through the chat, or I will, and get everyone's names and put them to a generator so we can do a nice randomized spin on all the people who are active in the chat tonight and select our winner. So you'll have to tune in to watch on Instagram. We'll announce it on our story and on our Facebook story as well. And we will try to reach out to you directly as well. So make sure you follow us, like us, engage, drop your handles in the chat on your Instagram or your links, so that if you win, we can reach out to you and we can get you your copy of this amazing HMCT's new design catalog for Public Foundry, designed by Anne Schwerta. So, Mr. Michael, this has been wonderful.
Absolutely. No, it's been a pleasure. We're always glad to be. This is actually our first Type Thursday of 2021. Yeah.
Holy moly!
So I didn't realize that. I didn't realize it either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thank you
So
all to our TypeCrit live audience. I don't know if you want to bring everyone in the room so we can wave each other goodbye.
yeah, let me do that right now.
Do a little fun send off. See everyone. Hey, hey. Ooh, look at the doggy.
Just go in here.
Hannah, Laura, Chantel, thank you all for joining and staying and hanging.
Yes.
We got the cute Teddy in the room too. Well, alrighty, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to watch Type Thursday LA. If you're interested in being on our live TypeCrit audience, reach out to us on Instagram DM or email, and we will see you next month.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Night, everybody.